back when I was in 8th grade in high school, I was had to do my biography, and that's how I wrote down that I wanted to be a police officer, and actually never thought I would do that when I was a senior in high school, because I played a lot of sports, but then wasn't the academic guy, but changed and went to the police academy, and have been at Lehigh ever since. My name is Ed Shupp. I'm the Chief of Police at Lehigh. I've been at Lehigh since 1979, 34 years now. When I started at Lehigh many years ago, there was a small 10-person department who pretty much did some basic law enforcement within the university, relied upon the city of Bethlehem more so for education and overall enforcement of all laws and regulations. Shortly thereafter, after I started at Lehigh, about 1983 is when Lehigh became a full-fledged police department. We are now up to 24 officers. I started as a rank of patrolman and worked my way through the ranks all the way up to corporal, to investigator, to sergeant, to lieutenant, and then assistant chief, until my current position, chief of police. We currently have 24 officers now who patrol the entire campus, Goodman campus, Packer campus, Mountaintop campus. We're a fully accredited police department, one of only 5 in the state of Pennsylvania. We handle every crime that would occur on the campus. Nothing is, City of Bethlehem's not called in to handle any incidents. We handle everything that would occur on the campus. I have 4 daughters from my previous marriage, so the educational aspect of my own family. So, of course, 2 of my children went to Lehigh. I graduated from Lehigh with bachelor's and master's degrees. So Lehigh has been very good to me and very good to my family over the years, and I just think it's a great opportunity and experience to work at a university. I'd probably never allow them to come to Lehigh again, because when people knew that they were Chief Shupp's daughter, it was kind of tough on them. People were kind of tough on them. They were tough on themselves then too, because it's they wouldn't do certain things that they would do with other people. But they both had good experience here. My one daughter got her bachelor's and master's in 4.5 years, and now is a school teacher in Jersey for the last 10 years. My daughter's got her bachelor's degree, so I'm proud of them. My other daughter's got education from East Stroudsburg and Bloomsburg. So, but it's tough to be the chief of police's daughter and come to the institution where he's at. Every day is a new challenge when you work at Lehigh, unfortunately. Of course, Lehigh is known for being a party school, for alcohol, things like that. I remember when I started here in 1979, freshman arrival and freshman rally was a Banco beer truck with 18 taps in the Taylor Gym parking lot and 50 Domino's pizzas delivered, and that was freshman rally. And the drinking age was 21 back then. But that's what the university did at that time, and then it changed shortly thereafter with change in administration and people understanding that not the right thing to do, not how we're going to start, somebody's college experience. So there's we used to have a lot of fights on campus, a lot of assaults. Every fraternity had, beer taps and beers on every night of the week. Over the years, I've had 2 broken noses, a broken jaw, a dislocated eye socket, 3 broken ribs, 2 knee surgeries, all from injuries on the job. Because alcohol played a major role. It still plays a major role in what happens on this campus. However, people have really, toned down a little bit. We don't get the assaults, we don't get the fights. And it's part of college life. I'd be disappointed if students didn't try to beat the system, didn't have a drink. But if you can have a drink and be safe without vandalizing someone else's property or assaulting somebody or whatever it may be, or have your friends watch over you, that's part of college life. I expect that, and that's part of the learning curve that our officers do with people as well. For every 1 person that gets arrested, 25 are educated and released. So last year, for instance, we arrested 108 people for underage drinking. That's less than 1% of the population. That's a pretty good percentage. And out of the 108, 85 were called in by Griffins or RLCs or other student leaders for bystander intervention. So that means officers did about 23 stops of their own. Shame on them. So they do care about the community, because alcohol is the root of all evil. Unfortunately, it is. It leads people to vandalize property, leads people to steal things, it leads people to assault people, to sexually assault people. So people don't do it when they're sober. They do it when they've had a few drinks in them. And we've got a lot of people go to the hospital because of alcohol intoxication. At a 0.30, you're comatose. So far this year, we've had 6 people go to the hospital over 3.0. Somebody, eventually, one day, we're going to have a death if people don't, start looking out for each other. The old saying, don't leave your room, man. If you go out with 3 people, you come home with 3 people. You go out with 5, you come home with 5, but you watch what each other's doing. We implemented the Hawk Watch program, which is the block watch off campus for students. More importantly, the technology, the cameras that we put in the past 10 years, as well as the patrols that we've added called community policing. We've modeled the entire department as a community policing department, meaning any student that's on campus will see officers on bike, on foot, on T3, on motorcycle, on Segway, in the communities, because they're approachable when they're on a mode of transportation like that. They're not approachable in a car or a vehicle. So since we've implemented that, crime continues to go down even more, decline even more, and I think that's important. I never left because I really enjoyed the type of environment. If I would have taken the job back in 1980 in City of Bethlehem, I'd be retired for 12 years already. I'd still be a young guy, so, but I enjoy the people I work with. I think there's great people at Lehigh there. The educators, other staff and student affairs and other departments I work with on a regular basis, athletics, they're great people who really care about students, care about educating and learning. So that's why I stayed. That's why I continue to stay. And when I think it gets old and I'm tired of it, then I'll pack it in. But I got a lot of energy yet. I still really enjoy doing it and meeting the younger people. And now I see sons and daughters of students, of parents that I knew when they were undergraduates, who now their sons and daughters come and they stop in here all the time, and where they'll call me, hey, my daughter's coming in, my son's coming in and say hello, from 20 years ago, 25 years ago. So that's a good experience, getting to know the offspring of all the students that I knew when they were freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors here. Not to toot our own horn, but we're the best of the best. We are looked at by other institutions throughout the country as a model police department because of the advancement that we have in health technologies, with the changes in the laws ever since the Clery Act many years ago. I mean, everyone knows that the Clery Act was based upon a young lady that was brutally murdered here. Back when that occurred, that was my case, so I handled that case from start to finish. So it was a very tragic incident, very traumatic, but all the positive, out of a negative comes a lot of positives. Well, back when that occurred, I had 3 daughters. So probably the toughest thing I ever had to deal with in my life is, being called. I was the sergeant in charge of investigations then, so very traumatic to deal with the situation, to have a young girl in the prime of her life, life taken away from her, to have to spend the next 11 months of my life and 1,585 hours to investigate, solve, and deal with the crime until there was a jury verdict of, guilty, and then, later on the sentencing of the death penalty, which since that time has been changed to life imprisonment. But when you start a case like that, there's a lot of time commitment. So who suffered in that? Probably my family, because that was my life, dealing with that case for a year until everything was resolved. But I can never, that would have been my life and my family, but what about the family of the young lady whose life was taken? It was even harder. So, I commend, Mrs. Cleary, Mr. Cleary, who's recently passed away. I commend them for, their strong will to get the laws changed, to make the positive changes, to put everybody on an even playing field, to make universities change some things, to make it safer for everybody. So out of a tragic incident, something very positive has come out of it is the Clery law. I've been at Lehigh for 34 years, so I mean, it's changed tremendously. Like I said, from 10 officers to 24, from 2 cars to 9, to motorcycles to, Segways and T3 and bicycle and things like that, to every car, is equipped with a laptop computers, technology changes, laptops and cameras in the front and back, so on traffic stops, and every car has a shotgun and an AR-15 rifle to deal with active shooter situations. So we're prepared to deal with everything. 30 years ago, we would have been handcuffed. dealing with some situations. So the training that, I make sure our officers go through on a consistent basis every year, that they go through about 1,600 hours of training. It's a lot of time that the officers put into making sure that it's a safe environment. And again, we can only make it as safe as the community wants it to be. My door's always open. I'm open to ideas, suggestions, listening to input, and if it's something we can do, it's a positive, we'll definitely look at it.